Ranking every fight in Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna give my opinion. My opinion is a fact though. Let's get into the video.
Number 1, the fights need to be canon, and number 2, they have to take place on screen or on the page. And finally, number 3, Saiyan Saga might seem light on quantity compared to previous arcs, but holy hell does it deliver on quality. Even the smallest introductory skirmishes hit differently now. Farmer vs Raditz might be a meme, but it has comparable value to the Tau vs General Blue encounter in my previous video, I think. General Blue
tongue, bro. He can literally have sex with
these skirmishes.
Realistically, everything should be a fucking guess.
Next bout, Raditz versus Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo. And the only thing I have to say about this is S tier. And that should not be controversial. This is
Alright, bro. I know what I said, what I just said, but if we're being realistic, S tier has to be reserved for the best fights, the best of the best fights. This isn't the best of the best fights in the whole series. This should be like B tier. Now, how Raditz was unfazed by the double team, that's hard. They have like camel angles in this fight, that's hard. But this isn't fucking S tier.
The stakes are incredibly high here, thanks in part to Gohan's capture, Raditz's ultimatum to Goku, and fundamentally the power differential established between the two strongest fighters on Earth combined versus Raditz. Also, it's the Earth's forces versus the Cybermen threat serves as the perfect appetizer before the main entree.
None of the Cybermen fights should be above a B tier. They all should be C tier. Max. Maybe Piccolo versus the Cybermen. How Piccolo grabbed the Cyberman, punched it in the dick, and flung it.
Explosive retaliation showcases humanity's hidden potential. Piccolo's flash of concern for Gohan, plans scenes for later, and Yamcha earn a solid C tier for me. And yes, I might be being generous here to Yamcha, but whatever, it's literally the last W he ever gets. And then Nappa enters, and man, the gloves come straight off.
I will give this B tier. Nappa walked everybody down. Nappa was a menace. And what made it scary is, alright, Vegeta's supposed to be stronger, but Vegeta's just standing on the sidelines, so what the fuck can he do? I'll give this a B+.
Demonstrating that even the most selfless of sacrifices amount to virtually nothing in this crippling war of attrition against this hulking monster from the stars. It's brutal, it's heartbreaking, and it's absolutely deserving of B tier in my book. But we're just getting warmed up. This is the Saiyan Saga after all. And Nappa versus Piccolo, Krillin, and Gohan weaves their individual character arcs into one desperate struggle for survival that I adored. Pushing Gohan to the surprising S tier addition for this
arc. Stop glazing, bro! Fuck!
Goku versus Nappa isn't trying to match the complexity of what came before.
Goku
it's
versus
pure,
Nappa
concentrated
was super fast.
payoff, and I love it. After watching your heroes get systematically destroyed,
you can't have a quick ass fight in its S tier. I'll give it B tier, bro.
Need this moment of catharsis. Goku's effortless dominance, Toriyama's incredible visual storytelling and inventive posing, and Vegeta's cold execution of his partner, it all adds up to an easy A tier fight. Vegeta is disrespectful to everyone.
You can give it an A tier simply because Goku just stood on his head. It's like, why are you trying to embarrass somebody that bad? I'll give this an A tier.
Who bled for this victory. This is Goku, Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe versus Vegeta, and it is a masterclass in narrative escalation. Vegeta isn't just powerful, he's an absolute force of nature who refuses to stay the fuck down. This fight has everything. Beam struggles that shake the planet, Kaiokens that push the bodies to breaking point, great ape transformation, spirit bombs. It's one of the greatest in anime history. S tier, without question, living rent-free, Toriyama at his absolute peak.
Bro, that's 3 S tiers so far. We're 20% through the video, and you gave 3 S tiers.
Gohan and Krillin versus some Frieza Force soldiers, Vegeta eviscerating a Namekian village, and Gohan versus Vegeta's knee all find their way into E tier respectively. All of these serve an important purpose narratively concerning Gohan and Krillin's run-in with the Frieza Force soldiers. Through this fight, we learned how Gohan and Krillin stack up amidst the Frieza Force.
So Gohan's finally put in work, he's not a pussy anymore, and you're gonna discredit that and give it an E tier? But Goku versus Nappa is A? Versus everybody is S tier? But you're gonna give this E? Wait!
Kicking things off with Vegeta versus Kui, it's a solid D tier entry. Again, mainly serving to establish
what? Dirty Fireworks? Dirty Fireworks is one of the best moves in the series, and you're gonna give it D tier? Give this a B, bro. Even though it's not even
Vegeta stacks up in respect to emotion and tension with nothing but a cast of entirely new faces. For me, the Namekian village versus the Frieza Force is an easy B tier candidate.
Why would you give this a B tier? Like, nobody even cares about this, bro. Dodoria just came in and packed up everybody.
This fight with Vegeta and Dodoria gets C tier for me. Moving on.
Alright, good.
Vegeta versus Zarbon and its eventual sequel are both solid additions to this story's midpoint that both facilitate and enhance the narrative. Plus, the action in both of these is really solid from start to finish. I just love the contrast between Zarbon's pre- and post-transformation fighting styles and how they reflect his form's aesthetic. C tier. Kicking things off with Guldo versus the combination of Gohan and Krillin, slotting straight into C tier. This fight...
Nah. You had somebody who could stop time. You have to think about this watching this for the first time. You have someone who can freeze time, bro. And he's about to stab you with a goddamn sharp ass wood log. Odo himself is not a cool character, but this fight, I'll give it a...
manages to feel unique thanks to Vegeta versus Raccoon is A tier. If this were a video game, this would be the skill check, so the hard line drawn in the sand where things genuinely get serious and even a little scary. There's no more running, no more tricks up their sleeves to pull out. It is pure, unrestrained, one-on-one combat.
Final Crash, bro, this fight is better than Goku versus Vegeta. People will say Goku versus Vegeta because it's iconic. It has the ×4, it has the Beam Clash, it has the Great Ape, it has the Spirit Bomb. Bro, if we're talking about cinematography-wise, this fight is better than Goku versus Vegeta.
If Vegeta versus Raccoon was the reality check, then Krillin and Gohan versus Raccoon is the proverbial brick wall and emphatic C-tier addition to this lineup. Where Vegeta fought to win, Krillin and Gohan are simply fighting to delay the inevitable. Goku versus Raccoon, as well as his later fight with Jason Burner, served the same purpose as Goku's earlier battle with Nappa did. I will say, however, neither of these bouts reached the same level as Nappa versus Goku did for me. And I think the reason is tension.
Look at that choreography, bro. Goku versus the Ginyu Force, A tier, bro.
Vegeta was right there. In this one, however, it's perhaps too much of a reset to the status quo. Still though, I can't say I didn't enjoy them both considerably. We'll put them in... And no, I am not counting Vegeta, killing Burner, and Raccoon.
Fuck? Are you just gonna ignore Goku one-shotting somebody who just gave Vegeta work? Are you just gonna disregard Goku toying with two other people who are supposed to be stronger than the one he just one-shotted?
Later fight with Jason Burner.
Just quick little jab, quick little power jab.
Served the same purpose.
Look at that technique, look at that form.
As Goku's early
sweep, brilliant sweep. He didn't know what the fuck hit him.
Your battle with Nappa did.
Then blast him away.
Will say, however,
look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that choreography. You're gonna say D tier? Yeah, we're saying Frieza Soldiers versus Dynamics is B tier, but this is
neither of these bouts
D tier. He didn't even show the part where Goku's using after image on the heavy disagree with this, bro.
Goku versus Ginyu, Gohan and Krillin versus Ginyu Goku, Vegeta versus Jace, and Vegeta versus Ginyu Goku are weird, and I'm putting them into E tier, I think. Well, actually, no, except for Goku and Ginyu, as there's actually a portion of that that's really genuinely cool to revisit. What?
Bro, what? He put them all together. That includes Vegeta versus Jace. Pause. The way Vegeta finished Jace, it was beautiful, bro. I don't mind you putting the whole thing like this, Ginyu versus Gohan and Krillin and E. It's the fact that you said Goku versus Ginyu was D tier. That's what helped raise it up. Vegeta versus Jace was better than that.
So put Vegeta versus Ginyu Goku into D tier. Nail versus Frieza, on the other hand, despite being a non-competitive and short-lived fight, is brimming with tension and high stakes. Nail knows he can't stand up to Frieza, but what he can do is waste his time.
This is just like with Vegeta versus Jace.
It's a beautifully cathartic moment of resistance against a tyrant. I'll put this in C tier.
What? Frieza speed blitz Nail. Pulled up on him with his back turned and backhanded him.
Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin versus Frieza in his first two forms is brilliant. Despite being set up as Vegeta's big show of power, this ends up being Gohan's greatest moment yet. Seriously, the scene where Gohan has to save Krillin only for Frieza to get in his way is still one of the single most hype moments for his character in the entire series. This whole fight makes terrific use of every character in play, and I genuinely couldn't think of a better team-up moment in the entire arc. I wouldn't change a single...
Bro, like, what are you on, bro? What are you on, bro? S tier, you're saying this is one of the best fights in the whole series. Vegeta versus first form Frieza is basically them just charging up and wrestling. Then Frieza goes second form. Everyone's just too scared to fight Frieza. This whole fight is basically Gohan getting mad. This whole fight is basically Frieza almost killing Krillin and Gohan getting mad. That's worthy of S tier.
Thing. S tier. And the good times keep on rolling once Piccolo and Gohan versus Frieza kicks off proper. There's something oddly satisfying about a Namekian punching Frieza in the face like this, plus Gohan gets another epic moment to shine. A tier. Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, and Dende versus Frieza isn't anything special, but it does do a decent job of setting up something actually great afterwards. C tier. Vegeta versus Frieza is where the investment into both Frieza and Vegeta's characters in this arc finally pays off. Frieza, through revealing who he truly is, not simply through transformation, but by way of humiliating the Saiyan Prince, brushing the last glimmer of light in his eyes before reducing him to a beaten, weeping heap, is nothing short of fantastic drama. It is one of Vegeta's most powerful moments in the entire series, and this fight serves that exceptionally well. A tier. It's storytelling through action 101.
I agree.
Which brings us to Goku versus Frieza. I don't think there's anything I could say about this fight that hasn't already been said by both me extensively and countless other people. So just like it's a massively exciting theme, and just in case you think I forgot to include that short stint where S tier for that too.
We could skip through this.
We just saw the Frieza saga was pretty stacked with top tier fights. And
this is S tier, especially if you're Especially if you have the Japanese OST playing along with this is S tier. This is one of the best pull-ups in anime history.
Kicking off the arc, feature Trunks' decimation of the Frieza Force, Frieza himself, and then his father, King Cold, is a fantastic opening rug pull gambit from Akira Toriyama. Never in a million years would I have seen that one coming. The surprise factor offers these fights a lot of edge too. I think a D tier is okay for the Frieza Force soldiers and his father, but a solid A tier is deserved to
Oh my god, I was about to tweak out, bro. I was about to slice this goddamn computer in half. A tier? I guess.
Frieza's kill himself.
He threw a supernova at Trunks and Trunks caught it with one hand like it was a tennis ball. He did burning attack hard. Then he sliced him in half. And then sliced him to 100 pieces. And did the He did it with style. He did it with finesse.
Very first time since Goku. Also, the visuals involved are much cooler. Pun not intended. Immediately off the heels of that, we've got Goku versus Trunks, and I'm throwing that right away into C tier. Initially, I slotted this.
Nah, bro, you gotta get this B or A. You telling me Goku calling his bluff right there, and then Goku playing defense with one finger, and then the last one, boom. And then Trunks throwing a sword up in the air and
C tier too, but again, I'm a massive fan of action speaking louder than words in fights, and this does that exceptionally well. Without even moving, Goku shows us that he's 10 times the warrior Trunks is. The finger blocks are just ridiculously cool. Now for something truly special, Goku versus Android 19 is unlike any Goku fight in the entire series, and that's the genius of it. Through the visual storytelling of Goku starting at max power, the fight being told through the perspective of Jiro and the onlookers, all the while Goku looks bewilderingly tired, makes this an easy A tier entry for me.
No, it doesn't, bro. Goku knows 19 can absorb ki, and he's still just throwing all the strongest Kamehameha he can throw at 19.
All the clues were there, we just
lowest IQ fights.
Just needed to look. Vegeta vs. Android 19 is the measuring stick I compare every modern Vegeta fight against. A superbly character-rich beatdown filled with iconic one-liners for us to enjoy. Utterly brimming with clever subtext and strategy to boot. For me, there is no question this is an S tier entry. And
bro, like, you don't think of Vegeta vs. Android 19 and say, oh, that's one of the best fights in the show. Who does that? Does an android like yourself experience fear? Okay, that's one quote. You were enjoying yourself before, while you were sucking the life out of Kakarot's. Okay, there's quotes. Big Bang Attack, our Android 19 is running away on foot when it can fucking fly. You see what I'm saying? How's that an S?
Confrontation with 18 establishes Vegeta's character journey for the arc while being every bit as visually impressive as the former. Refusing help and ultimately paying for it, Vegeta is forced to reconcile that he needed the help of others to survive, which pays off wonderfully later. A tier.
Whatever.
This section has a lot, so let's get the small fry out of the way early. Cell's introductory kill with an older gentleman is hauntingly effective for how short it is. E tier. Android 16 getting his skull back.
Nah, low-key, you should put that in A tier, because that's one of the wildest things you've seen in Dragon Ball. Cell killed somebody in, like, the worst way possible, and you're gonna put it in E tier? If you're a kid and you first watched that, bro, that was traumatic. That actually made you scared of Cell. Like, when you're watching Dragon Ball Z, you're not, and you see the villains, you're not necessarily scared of the villains. That was the first time where you legit were scared of a villain. We put that in A tier.
Then goes for Krillin's solo effort against Perfect Cell 2 with his Kienzan. It's a cool visual, but ultimately E tier. However, things do.
You just said you weren't gonna put things that were non-canon. That was a non-canon thing.
To quickly get better. Piccolo vs. Imperfect Cell is an easy B tier addition. Though it is light on the action compared to others I'll soon touch on, it's filled with some of the best Piccolo moments with clever strategy taking precedence over flashy shows of force. On the other side of the coin, Android 17 vs. Piccolo is specifically famous for its flash show of force. Breaking out.
What the fuck? Piccolo vs. Android 17's B tier? Goku and Piccolo vs. Raditz is S tier, but Piccolo vs. 17 is B tier. Just keep that in mind, y'all. Goku vs. Nappa is A tier. Piccolo vs. 17 is B tier. You have Hellzone Grenade. You have they're hitting so hard that their fists are going through their stomachs. This is easily one of the best choreographed fights in the whole series, but it's B tier, alright.
Out some of his best new moves, Piccolo brings the fight out of 17 and offers him a crucial opportunity to reveal his true character before Cell arrives on the scene to destroy everything. And speaking of, Cell vs. Piccolo and 17 is a solid C tier pick. It's carried by Piccolo's light grenade, but ultimately doesn't offer much else. And
C tier, Cell walked right through that and broke Piccolo's neck and blew his chest in half. That's C tier.
On top of being a very nice surprise that transitions us nicely into the Perfect Cell era, it's filled with some really unorthodox combat. Another easy B tier. Me Perfect Cell versus Ten Shinhan in A tier. But here we are, and it's well deserved. This is a stunning example of.
You're saying this shit is better than Piccolo versus 17. This isn't even a fucking fight. If you saw two men in the street, they're just shoving each other back and forth. Are you gonna go home or call your friend and say, bro, I just saw the craziest fight today? No, you're not going to do that.
Is thrilling. Floodgates open. Vegeta versus Semi-Perfect Cell, and eventually Perfect Cell is another S-tier affair.
Yes. Final Flash, yes. Cell, perfect form, yes. Vegeta, Super Vegeta, when he first sees Semi-Perfect Cell, the first thing he does when he goes super, then he just blitzes Cell, hits him with that gut punch. Yeah, that was hard. That was hard. This an S, though, I'll give it an A. S is reserved for the top of the top in the whole series. You just can't throw S willy-nilly. There are more S tiers than A tiers, I'm pretty sure. I understand it's Dragon Ball Z, but you have to grade it on a Dragon Ball Z scale.
The score I'm going to give this next one might even be controversial. I'm awarding S tier also to Perfect Cell versus...
Absolutely not. This fight is not better than Piccolo versus 17.
While visually exciting, it's not the aesthetic that pushes this fight as high as it goes for me, it's how it serves.
Bro, this whole fight is just Cell dodging Trunks, because Trunks is slow as fuck. Trunks hit Cell a few times, but Cell's not trying.
We gain insight into just how terrifyingly mistaken Trunks is before he does.
Why would you give this an S tier? Like with Cell and Vegeta, it's like, okay, there was like Final Flash. Final Flash, one of the best moments in the whole series. This is a super forgettable fight,
profoundly embarrassing and one of the best uses of dramatic irony in the entire series, humanizing Trunks as a child out of depth while elevating Cell, Goku, and even Vegeta in the process. From a writing standpoint, there's nothing else like it in the entire series. Punching bags later. I think against the Z fighters, I'd slot them into D tier, but as punching bags, that's gotta be a C tier for sure. It's just too satisfying. And finally, we've got the heavy...
Wait, what? Alright.
I'd slot them into D tier, but...
Z fighters versus...
as punching bags, that's gotta be a C.
Gohan versus the Cell Juniors is C. This is the best pack-up job in the whole series. You're gonna give it a C tier? He's punching people in half while not saying a word. But this is C tier.
And finally, we've got the heavy hitters. Goku versus Cell is a beautiful, albeit controversial end to Goku's fight. Serves as Goku's handing of the torch into S tier alongside Gohan and Vegeta versus Cell. As if there was ever any question that fight was going to make the cut. Acting as the culmination of years worth of man who refused to let go of it.
Agreed.
Coming together, Future Gohan versus the androids and Trunks versus the androids after the arc both go into D tier, while Future Trunks versus Imperfect Cell is E tier due to us having really no emotional attachment to that character.
D tier. This is for Gohan is D tier? You gotta give that B. Why would you give that D tier considering the context of the fight, though?
Gohan versus some robbers and his fight alongside Videl, taking out other criminals, are E tier. Gohan's short training stage.
Not really. He's catching bullets in his school outfit. And he's doing it on foot, too. No flying, all running. Straight hands. Give it a B tier.
With Goten is also E tier, and Vegeta's short spar with Trunks is C tier. I put that into C because it's the genuinely...
Because Vegeta hit... Because Trunks hit Vegeta?
Interesting matchup first of all, and we learn a lot about where both characters are in terms of personal growth. Trunks versus Idasa and Goten versus Goten, on the other hand, is genuinely enjoyable and good. Hard. There's some really nice characterization in this one too, and some cute encouragement from the sidelines through Goku and Vegeta, and overall, it's really solid. B tier. As a child only, this time, people who can actually help are being told to just sit tight and watch. It is brutal. This
is S tier.
Shows Videl's intense determination and grit before she vanishes forever, and is incredibly dark. Depending on which way you land on this, you could put it into D tier for being uncomfortable to a degree that's perhaps too far, or A tier. For me, it's one...
Uncomfortable? Bro, this is Dragon Ball Z. What are we talking about uncomfortable? You gave Cell sucking the life out that old man in E tier. But you want to talk about uncomfortability? Gohan was 9 years old when he fought Cell. Cell was beating the fuck out of him. Where's the uncomfortability part right there?
God, this is so long. Yamo and Slopovich getting murked by Babidi and Pui Pui is an E tier. Dabura's Savage Assault on Piccolo, Krillin, and Kibito is better, but still only D tier.
That was hard. No, you can't get that B tier. That pull-up was crazy. That pull-up on Kibito was crazy.
And Gohan's fight with Dabura is one of the most forgettable fights in the entire series for me.
This is one of the most forgettable fights in the series. But you gave Frieza Soldiers versus Namek Warriors B tier. What are you gonna give this?
Seriously, the only thing I remember about it was how often Vegeta and Goku commented on how much weaker Gohan was. Not super sad.
Oh, E tier! Okay, he was weaker, but the fight still was good. It was still good choreography. Was Gohan rusty? Yes. But how are you gonna say this is one of the most forgettable fights? when you put Frieza soldiers versus Namek warriors in B tier.
Thankfully, there's better stuff to enjoy. Goku versus Yakan goes into C tier. It's exciting, foreshadows how strong Goku...
Oh, but this isn't forgettable? All Goku did was charge up. This isn't a fucking fight.
Goku's gotten and pushes Babidi to do the unthinkable with Vegeta. The two best fights in this section are Vegeta versus Pui Pui and Majin Vegeta versus Goku, of course. The Pui Pui fight has echoes of Android 19 written all over it, but lacks the same intensity and drama for me. Still though, it's plenty entertaining. Yeah, my ranking of the Majin Vegeta fight with Goku on the other hand is going to turn some heads and perhaps ruffle some feathers, I'd wager. In the anime, the fight is very long and offers some of the series' best animated moments. To this day, I still return to watch it, it's fun, but in the manga, the fight is far more of a background element than we might be used to with the anime. It has some cool shots, of course, and serves a nice purpose for Vegeta to explore his issues.
So this is the first time you're bringing up the manga, bro. 32 minutes into the video, this is the first time you're doing this. This is rage bait, bro.
But ultimately, it's nowhere near as good as the anime might have led us to believe. B tier.
This is rage bait, bro. I'm not gonna fall for it.
Gohan versus Super Buu, when he first makes the save. For me, this is one of the most disappointing fights in the entire series. For frankly, too many chapters, we were forced to wait while this freaky old shaman Kai danced around him. Also, he could just do nothing.
What does that have to do with the fight itself?
Yes. It's cathartic, of course, to see Gohan show up wearing those clothes, and it has some cool moments, but outside of that, it's just not great. And the second fight that I'm sure you're going to be upset with me on is Vegeta versus Kid Buu. In the anime, this fight is awesome and would easily find its way into an A or S tier for me, but in the manga, it's much less than many might anticipate. It's still good, but nowhere near as emotionally powerful as the anime worked out. C tier to that one too. Alrighty, now for the genuinely great stuff. Goku versus Majin Buu as he cycles through his forms and showcases Super Saiyan 3 for the first time is a solid B tier entry, as is...
This is literally the whole fight. That's the whole fight. Him transforming and using Majin Buu as damn, what is that called? I'm gonna put it up on the screen. I don't know what it's called. But that thing. Goku versus Fat Boo's B tier. The fight is not even memorable. It's just the transformation's iconic.
So in B tier is Goku versus Kid Buu as a Super Saiyan 3 and Vegito versus Super Buu. Both of these fights...
No, you're gonna give Vegito versus Super Buu B tier? Give that A tier, bro. Goku versus Kid Buu. Super Saiyan 3, sure. B tier, fine. Neither are very long or impressive. Yo, this man gave Goku versus Nappa A tier. By the way, that fight was 2 minutes. And I
push them into A tier for me. I tried to justify, and I do mean that I really tried to justify Vegeta's fight to go into A tier because people really love it so much, but I genuinely can't see a reason to. It's fun, it's...
Why? I'm gonna put this up on the screen and tell me that this is not good. What are we talking about?
It's cathartic to some extent and very enjoyable, but big numbers go burr isn't enough to get me over that threshold. And so we have arrived at the 3 best fights in the Buu saga according to me. And surprisingly, even to me, Gotenks and Piccolo versus Super Buu in the Time Chamber is going into A tier. Unlike the anime, which created way more Gotenks than we ever could have possibly needed, this manga outing is genuinely some of the most creative action I've seen in a long time and takes place in a dimension that only heightens the tension further. Seriously.
Bro, most of this is Gotenks just doing his goddamn wrestling intro.
2 S tier candidates. First up, Majin Vegeta and Trunks versus Majin Buu. And yes, that's right, Trunks did help. See? He kicked him off Vegeta. That counts. This fight is epic and a beautiful moment of reconciliation for Vegeta's character. No.
All he did was final impact and kill himself. That's S tier. That's an S tier fight. Ranking every fight in Dragon Ball Z. Oh, just shoot 1 ki blast and blow yourself up. Yeah, that's S tier. The moment is good, but like, bro, that's not, you shouldn't even consider that a fight.
For Dragon Ball Z, Goku and Vegeta versus Kid Buu. The Spirit Bomb, the running out of energy, Vegeta begging the Earthlings for their energy, Satan helping, the Namekians lending a hand. It is a wonderful culmination of everything.
He doesn't have Super Saiyan 2 versus Kid Buu on here because that's not canon. That didn't happen in the manga. But Krillin throwing the Destructo Descatzel wasn't canon either. Wouldn't get that S tier. It's just like that just ends the anime. Just because it's ending the anime doesn't mean it's the best fight. Doesn't mean it's worth S tier. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't love it. There was a lot of glaze in here. There was too many S tiers. When people make ranking videos or tier list videos, you can't have too much things in S tier. That just nullifies the rest of the ranking. Piccolo versus 17 in B tier is fucking crazy.